Can we travel through time? Time, the invisible current that sweeps us forward, moment by moment, without pause. We live within its flow, yet often find ourselves questioning its boundaries. Is time truly a one-way street? Or could it be that time travel, as imagined in countless works of science fiction, is possible? This question has captivated the human imagination for centuries. From ancient myths to modern physics, each offering its own tantalizing possibilities. But beneath the surface, as we begin to unravel the nature of time itself, the question of time travel becomes much more than a speculative fantasy. It forces us to confront the very essence of reality. What is time? Before we can explore the possibility of time travel, we must first ask, what is time? Is it a fundamental aspect of the universe, or merely a construct of the human mind? From a philosophical perspective, time has been debated since antiquity. To some, time is an unchangeable flow, a river that carries all existence within it. To others, it is an illusion, a perception that masks a deeper, timeless reality. One of the earliest philosophical ideas about time comes from the ancient Greek philosopher Zeno, who argued that time, like space, could be infinitely divided. Zeno's paradoxes suggest that motion and, by extension, time may be illusory. This line of thinking, while abstract, hints at a deeper question. Is time something real, or is it a framework through which we organize our experience of change? In modern physics, time is often treated as the fourth dimension, inseparable from the fabric of space itself. This idea, known as space-time, was famously introduced by Albert Einstein in his theory of relativity. According to Einstein, time is not an absolute, unchanging entity, but something that can stretch and bend depending on the observer's speed and position in the universe. This revelation opened the door to new possibilities. If time can be distorted, can it also be manipulated? Could we, in theory, move through it as we move through space? The physics of time travel. Einstein's theory of relativity provides the first glimmer of hope for time travelers. Under certain conditions, time appears to behave in ways that defy our everyday experience. For example, the phenomenon of time dilation occurs when an object moves at or near the speed of light. According to relativity, the faster an object moves, the slower time passes for that object relative to an outside observer. This means that if we were to travel close to the speed of light, we could, in a sense, travel to the future. For the traveler, only a short amount of time might pass, while years, decades, or even centuries could elapse for those who remain stationary. This is not just a theoretical possibility, it has been observed in experiments. Particles called muons, which decay quickly under normal conditions, have been shown to live significantly longer when traveling at high speeds, effectively experiencing less time than their slower counterparts. The implications for human travel are clear. If we could find a way to reach such extreme speeds, we might one day leap forward in time. But what about traveling to the past? This is where the science becomes even stranger. Some solutions to Einstein's equations of general relativity suggest the existence of closed time-like curves, paths through space-time that loop back on themselves, allowing for travel to an earlier point in time. These curves could, in theory, be formed by objects with immense gravitational forces, such as rotating black holes or hypothetical structures known as wormholes, sometimes called Einstein-Rosen bridges, are theoretical shortcuts through space-time that could, under the right conditions, connect two distant points in space or two different moments in time. If such structures exist, and if we could find or create them, they might allow for travel into the past or future. Yet, despite their mathematical possibility, wormholes remain speculative, with no direct evidence of their existence. Even if they do exist, the challenges of using one for time travel, surviving the extreme gravitational forces, stabilizing the wormholes seem nearly insurmountable paradoxes and philosophical dilemmas. Even if time travel were possible, it would introduce a host of paradoxes and philosophical questions. One of the most famous is the grandfather paradox, which asks, what would happen if a time traveler went back in time and prevented their own grandfather from meeting their grandmother? Would the time traveler cease to exist? And if they never existed, how could they have traveled back in time in the first place? This paradox suggests that any attempt to change the past could lead to logical contradictions, unraveling the fabric of cause and effect. Some theorists have proposed solutions to the grandfather paradox, such as the idea of multiple timelines or parallel universes. In this model, changing the past would create a new, divergent timeline, while the original timeline remains unaffected. In other words, the time traveler's actions would create an alternate reality in which they never existed, but their original reality would remain intact. Yet this raises further questions. If every change to the past creates a new timeline, are we constantly spawning infinite parallel universes with each decision we make? And if so, can we ever truly return to our own past, or would we always end up in a different version of it? The nature of free will and determinism. Time travel also forces us to confront the age-old debate between free will and determinism. If time is a fixed, unchangeable dimension, does that mean our futures are already determined? Are we merely following a path that has already been laid out for us, or do we have the power to shape our destinies? The idea of time as a block universe, in which past, present, and future coexist simultaneously, suggests that all events are already written into the fabric of space-time. In this view, time travel would be less about changing the past or future and more about visiting predetermined events. But this deterministic view clashes with our everyday experience of choice and agency. If the future is already set, why do we feel that we have the power to make decisions that influence our fate? Perhaps time travel, if possible, would reveal that our understanding of free will is limited. It may be that we do have the power to make choices, but those choices are part of the tapestry of time, woven into the structure of the universe from the very beginning. This would suggest a more nuanced view of time, in which the future is both fixed and shaped by our actions. The spiritual dimension, time and eternity. Beyond the scientific and philosophical debates, the idea of time travel touches on deeper spiritual questions. In many religious traditions, time is seen as a temporary state, a phase of existence that leads to something beyond, whether it be eternal life, reincarnation, or enlightenment. To transcend time is often viewed as a form of spiritual awakening, a return to a state of timelessness that exists outside the bounds of our physical world. For example, in Hinduism and Buddhism, time is cyclical, with the universe undergoing endless cycles of creation, destruction, and rebirth. The goal of spiritual practice is to break free from this cycle and achieve a state of nirvana, where one transcends the limitations of time and space. In this sense, time travel could be seen not as a journey through physical space-time, but as a journey of the soul, a way of experiencing eternity, a dimension where past, present, and future merge into a singletamity. Can we truly travel through time? As we ponder the possibility of time travel, we are left with more questions than answers. Science offers tantalizing glimpses of how time might be manipulated, but the practical challenges remain enormous. Philosophy and religion provide deeper insights into the nature of time, but they too leave us wondering whether time is something we can ever fully grasp or transcend. Perhaps in the end, time travel is not about machines or wormholes, but about how we perceive and experience time. In each moment, we are traveling through time, carrying with us the memories of the past, the awareness of the present, and the anticipation of the future. Our lives are a journey through the river of time, and whether we can ever step outside of that flow remains one of the greatest mysteries of existence. In the meantime, the question of time travel invites us to reflect on the fleeting nature of our lives and the boundless possibilities that lie ahead. For now, we are bound by time's current, but who knows what the future or the past may hold? Time, it seems, always has a way of keeping its secrets.